So for the gnocchi, I want to start by combining all of my ricotta, all of my eggs, all of my Parmesan cheese, and then half of my flour, all in a nice big bowl. I'm going to stir it up. You can start with a spoon, but you will probably need to knead with your hands by the end. So we're going to add more flour until our spoon starts to have trouble moving through our dough.
Now that my spoon is having trouble moving through my dough, I'm going to switch to kneading. So I'm going to be kneading with my hands.
So I can shove my fist all the way in and the back of my hand comes out nice and clean. I am ready to start forming my gnocchi. So first I'm going to go wash my hands and then I'll show you how to form. The most important thing to remember when making gnocchi or any other pasta is that you should never rip the dough, you should always cut it. So I'm going to take my dough. I'm going to use a knife to cut it into some much smaller pieces. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to roll it out into one big coil. If you're finding that sticking, you might need just a little bit more flour. So go ahead and just sprinkle some flour on your cutting board and roll your gnocchi through it if you find that it's sticking to your hands. Okay, when it's the width of your cutting board or whatever surface you're using, you're going to cut it up into even smaller pieces. And work one at a time on those pieces to turn them into a nice long coil that's about as thick as your thumb. Now you're going to cut it about as long as the first piece of your thumb. So up until your first thumb knuckle. Cut it into little pieces like that. Don't measure your thumb while you're cutting, otherwise you might cut your thumb. And the last step of the gnocchi making process is to take a fork. You're going to roll the gnocchi down the tine of the fork. So what you're going to do is you're going to squish your gnocchi on the fork and then roll it into a log. And that gives you this texture that's going to help hold sauce. So I'm going to squish and roll. And squish and roll. I'm going to start putting them on a baking sheet that I have dusted with some flour. And I don't want them overlapping. I want to make sure that they are each completely on their own. I can do one of three things with it. One, I can cook it right now. I just put it into boiling water, and as soon as it floats, I scoop it out with a slotted spoon. The other options are to stick it in the refrigerator with a cloth over top to make sure it doesn't dry out if I'm going to use it in the next 24 hours. If I want to store it for longer, I want to stick this whole sheet into my freezer. At that point, I will wait for it to freeze, and once all the gnocchi is frozen, I'll take it out of the sheet and put it into baggies. And then you don't have to thaw those gnocchi before you boil them, you just put them straight into the boiling water frozen. Check in for more activities from Roper Summer Day Camp.